Rich Dad, Poor Dad meets the psychology of money. A complete operating system for lasting wealth. These two books are not separate ideas. They are two halves of one complete system. You've probably read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You felt something shift inside you the moment Robert Kiyosaki said, "The rich don't work for money. They make money work for them." It was electric. A door opened, and then life happened. Monday arrived. The alarm went off. You went back to your job. And that powerful feeling slowly faded, like a dream you couldn't quite hold on to. Maybe you've also read The Psychology of Money. Morgan Housel quietly showed you that wealth isn't really about spreadsheets or stock picks. It's about how you behave, how you think, how you feel in the moments that matter most. Also brilliant, also true. But here's what nobody is telling you. These two books are not separate ideas. They are two halves of one complete system. Rich Dad. Poor Dad gives you the destination. The Psychology of Money gives you the vehicle to actually get there. One rewires what you want. The other rewires how you act. And when you put them together, something extraordinary happens. Today, we're going to do exactly that. We'll walk through 3 powerful lessons where these two books lock together perfectly. Lesson 1. Stop selling your time, but do it without destroying yourself. Rich Dad. Poor Dad opens with a brutal truth. Most people spend their entire lives trapped in what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. You work, you get paid, you spend, you work more to pay for what you spent. Repeat until retirement, if retirement ever comes. His solution? Stop trading time for money. Build or buy assets, things that generate income while you sleep. Rental properties, businesses, investments, royalties. The idea is simple. The feeling it creates is urgent, almost electric. You want to act, right now. And that urgency, that hunger, is exactly where people get into trouble. Because here's what Rich Dad, Poor Dad doesn't fully prepare you for. The emotional chaos of becoming an investor. The market drops 30%. Your rental property sits empty for 3 months. Your business idea fails. And suddenly, that electric feeling turns into panic. You sell at the worst moment. You give up. You conclude the whole thing was a mistake. This is where The Psychology of Money walks in. Morgan Housel tells a story about 2 men. Ronald Reed was a janitor and gas station attendant his entire career. He lived quietly, drove a used car, and never made headlines. When he died in 2014, he left $8 million to his local hospital and library. In the same era, Richard Foscone was a Harvard-educated executive at Merrill Lynch. He had everything: the degree, the network, the high-income career. He borrowed heavily to build a mansion with a 62-foot swimming pool. In 2008, when markets crashed, he couldn't cover his loans. He filed for bankruptcy. The janitor outperformed the Wall Street executive, not because of intelligence, not because of access, because of behavior. This is the missing piece, Rich Dad. Poor Dad doesn't give you. Kiyosaki tells you to acquire assets. Housel shows you how to not destroy them with your own decisions. The lesson? Build assets slowly, deliberately, and with what Housel calls room for error. Lesson 2. Think like an owner, but know what enough means. One of the most powerful ideas in Rich Dad. Poor Dad is the difference between an employee mindset and an owner mindset. Kiyosaki says employees ask, "How much does it pay?" Owners ask, "How much can I build?" He pushes you to think bigger. Aim higher. Don't settle. The employee mindset, he says, is the cage. Ownership is freedom. This idea has changed millions of lives. It's true. It's important. But there's a shadow side to it that almost nobody talks about. When you're always thinking bigger, always reaching for more, always measuring yourself against the next level, you can lose the one thing that wealth is supposed to give you: peace. The Psychology of Money has a chapter called simply, Enough. Housel tells the story of a party on Shelter Island in New York. 2 famous authors are standing together, Kurt Vonnegut and Joseph Heller. Vonnegut points to a hedge fund manager across the room and says, "This man made more money yesterday than your entire novel Catch-22 has earned in its lifetime." Heller smiles and says, "Yes, but I have something he will never have." Vonnegut asks what? Heller says, "Enough." Housel argues that one of the most dangerous things about the modern financial world is that the goalpost never stops moving. You earn more, so you spend more. You spend more, so you need more. You need more, so you work more. And suddenly you're back in the rat race, just at a higher income level. The cage got bigger, but it's still a cage. This is where Rich Dad and the Psychology of Money create something extraordinary together. Rich Dad gives you the owner mindset. Think bigger, build assets, create freedom. The Psychology of Money gives you the wisdom to define what freedom actually looks like for you. Personally, specifically, honestly. Think of it like building a house. Rich Dad teaches you to build on a solid foundation. Assets, not liabilities. The Psychology of Money reminds you that a house is only a home when you know who it's for and what you want to do inside it. You need both, the architecture and the intention. Because wealth without purpose isn't freedom, it's just a faster treadmill. Lesson 3. The power of compounding, and why you must stay in the game. Here is perhaps the most important thing Rich Dad, Poor Dad teaches you about money. Your asset column is not what you earn. It's what you keep and grow over time. Kiyosaki is obsessed with passive income, money flowing toward you consistently, month after month, year after year. He's describing compounding. He just doesn't always call it that. Compounding is the closest thing to magic that actually exists in the real world. Here's a fact that will stop you cold. Warren Buffett, widely considered the greatest investor alive, started investing at 11 years old. He is now in his 90s. His net worth is estimated at over $100 billion. 97% of Warren Buffett's wealth was accumulated after his 50th birthday. Not because his strategy got better. Not because he found some secret. Because compounding had more time to work. Housel puts it this way. Buffett's skill is investing, but his secret is time. This changes everything. It means the most important financial decision you will ever make is not which stock to buy or which property to invest in. It is this. Stay in the game long enough for compounding to work. And staying in the game requires something Rich Dad doesn't spend much time on. Emotional resilience. Because here's the truth. Markets fall. Properties lose value. Businesses fail in their first year. If you panic and pull out every time things go wrong, you reset the clock. You undo the compounding. You lose decades of invisible progress in a single emotional moment. Think of it like planting a mango tree. Rich Dad tells you to plant the tree. It tells you the tree will give you fruit for decades. That's true. The Psychology of Money tells you that in the first 3 years, the tree looks dead. Nothing seems to be happening. Most people pull it out of the ground because they can't see the roots growing underground. The people who get the fruit are the ones who don't pull it out. They water it in the drought. They protect it in the storm. They resist the urge to dig it up and plant something faster. That patience, that quiet, unglamorous, unsexy patience, is the real wealth-building skill. Rich Dad gives you the reason to plant. The Psychology of Money gives you the character to wait. Let's take the complete picture now. Let's step back and see what we've built together. Rich Dad. Poor Dad and the Psychology of Money are not competing with each other. They are completing each other. Rich Dad says, stop trading time for money, build assets, think like an owner. The Psychology of Money says, build slowly, know what enough means, stay in the game long enough for compounding to do its work. One is the destination. The other is the map. One is the fire. The other is the wisdom to keep it burning without burning yourself. If you've read Rich Dad and felt inspired but couldn't sustain it, this is why. You had the spark but not the temperament. If you've read The Psychology of Money and felt wise but somehow stuck, this is why. You had the temperament but not the direction. Read them together. Apply them together. Wealth is not built in dramatic moments. It's built in the quiet, ordinary decisions you make on a Tuesday afternoon when no one is watching. Do you buy the asset or the liability? Do you sell in the panic or hold through it? Do you keep moving the goalpost or do you recognize when you have enough? Those small decisions made consistently, across years and decades, that is where wealth lives. Rich Dad shows you what to build. The Psychology of Money shows you how to become the person who can build it. Now you have both.
Thank you for listening. I hope you like the content. If you'd like it, please click on like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.